Bam was absolutely brilliant. Boots left so much to be desired. And in this video, I'm going to give you my instant reaction to their two performances and why I think that Jaron Boots Ennis saying he's going to move to 154 pounds could potentially be a disastrous move for his career. Hello everyone and welcome back to a guy called Henry. I am fresh off a very impromptu live stream that I just did for that double header Boots and Bam card. And I've got to be honest, guys, in some ways it was exactly what I thought it would be, and in other ways I was hugely disappointed. Now, when I saw that the fights were announced, it was one of them. It was one of those cards where I look at it and I go, I'm not excited by these opponents. I'm excited by these two names, but not the opponents. And I really don't like it when promoters try and stack a card with names to try and sell you the experience. When in reality, you know, the thing that makes boxing great is great competitive matchups. I would rather watch two lower level guys who are matched appropriately because it always creates fireworks. It always creates excitement. Now, as it turns out, one of these fights was much more competitive than I expected it to be. And I think I got a bit of a reality check about how good Jaron Boots Ennis actually is at this moment in time. I'm going to review the two guys, Jesse Bam Rodriguez and Jaron Boots Ennis. I'm going to start with Boots Ennis because I have a lot to say about that performance and it's fresh in my mind right now, having just watched it. Literally, I've ended my stream and I've come straight here. So I scored this fight 116-111 to Boots. It was a fight that was actually extremely close. Many of the rounds were close. I felt Boots won, but 116-111 doesn't tell the whole story of the fight. He was fighting a man called, I need to remind myself how to say his name, Chukhadzhian, as the Americans say. But anyway, he fought this guy, Chukhadzhian. He'd fought him before. He'd beat him in a unanimous decision a little while ago. And the IBF reordered the fight. And you think, God, what a waste of time. Why are we watching this again? But honestly, Chukhadzhian came to fight. And he was very, very good. In this fight, he came out on the front foot, where he fought the last fight much more defensively, much more reserved. And he really had a good go. And guys, honestly, he could not miss with his left hook. He landed that left hook so many times. Whether Ennis was in southpaw, obviously a little bit more in southpaw, but even when he was in orthodox, and he was landing that left hook on Ennis. And I had a massive issue with Ennis after his fight against David Avanesyan, which was that I felt he got punched way too much. Now, in my immediate reaction video to that, I did say I felt that, you know, he just didn't take the opponent too seriously. He held his feet. He thought, I'll break him down, I'll knock him out, it'll be fine. I'll take the punches today, and then, you know, next time I'll show better defense. But again, I'm starting to see it now as a pattern. Again today here, he held his feet in the pocket way too much. I'm actually going to be quite harsh, and I'm only being harsh because I think he's such a superb talent, because he won the fight, but he didn't do enough. He didn't do enough, and I thought that he looked unbelievably basic in there. Someone that I've, you know, had a fair bit to say about over the years I've been watching him is Conor Benn, and, you know, I think that he's not really been tested yet by a top-level opponent. But something I say about him is that he's very one-paced. Everything is fast. Everything is powerful. But in boxing, you have to vary your speed to create indecision in your opponent, to make it so that defensively it's harder for them to time what you're doing and block what you're doing and slip what you're doing. But I see Jaron Boots Ennis as maybe an even more powerful version of that, where everything's the same pace. He doesn't really use the jab to set things up. It feels like every shot is a single shot. He's not punching to set up other punches. He doesn't punch to create angles. And I just feel like his game plan in this fight was to walk forward, take shots, and throw shots back. And it was just very, very simple. Now, his old man in the corner, who is his coach, kept saying to him, just get him out of there, man. If I'd been playing a drinking game, watching this fight, I'd be absolutely hammered right now, because the number of times he said, just get him out of here, man. If I'd been drinking every time he said, just get him out of here, man, I'd be hammered. And I just didn't think the corner instructions were particularly sophisticated. I didn't think they were good enough. I felt they were quite arrogant and disrespectful of his opponent, because he bought a really good fight. He bought a much better game plan than Boots did. And just being physical at the top level is not enough. Now, straight away after the fight, Boots has said, I think I need to go to 154. I think my shots will have the pop they should have up there. And that is a viable reason as to why he didn't really look as good as I thought he would. But at the same time, I felt like the issues in this fight were technical, were tactical. He didn't move his head enough. He didn't move his feet enough. He was happy to sit in the pocket for far too long. And there was no nuance, no sophistication to the way he set up his punches or closed the gap, or he didn't really create too many angles either. And when he managed to knock his opponent down, it was really down to just brute force. He bludgeoned him. And even when he landed clean a lot of the time, it was through the gloves. So I felt that Chukhadzhian boxed a really good fight. I felt that Ennis got through it because of his talent and his physicality, but he should be getting so much more out of himself. And he needed to make a statement here. He needed to put in a big performance, show guys like Terence Crawford, as soon as I got up to 154, I should be getting a fight against you. You know, Terence Crawford, Virgil Ortiz, whoever else up there. But on that performance, you look at someone like Madrimov, and I think he'd give Jaron Ennis absolute nightmares and hell. And got up to 154 at your peril, Jaron Ennis, because that performance isn't going to be good enough at 154. The guy's hit that much harder. So if you're going to get punched that much at a higher weight division, you're going to get in trouble. So I was really, really disappointed with that performance. And the only reason I'm going so hard, guys, is because I think he's so talented. I think he's so good. I think he could do so much with his career. But that was so disappointing, man. And I don't know if anybody else agrees with me. And if you think I'm being too harsh, please do get in the comments below. Let me know if you think I'm going too hard on Jaron Ennis here. Also, please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bang a like on the video, all that stuff. But I'm open to criticism, as I always say that. So if you think I'm being too harsh on Jaron Ennis, he did get the win, so fair enough. But as a guy he fought before, I just felt that he should have gone in there and really done a number on him. As I say, I thought the corner work was poor, and it's 2 fights in a row now where I've seen him execute very unsophisticated tactics, get punched a lot, stay in the pocket too long. So I would be looking to change my team up if I was him, potentially. He needs to have a really long think about that. Might just be that the corner instructions are what they are. Maybe the corner knows something about him that we don't. It's a motivation issue. Perhaps they feel that... I felt as the fight went on, there was a point in the mid-rounds where he did look a bit sharper. I felt early on, before the first bell went, he was in this corner and he was sort of doing in a squat position. He looked extremely relaxed, almost too relaxed. And I think because he is such a beast at 147, I don't know if he fears so much what's coming back at him. And he did say himself in the post-fight interview, when there's better guys in front of him, he'll take it more seriously. So perhaps that is part of the explanation, but also maybe he's just not as good as we think he is. Anyway, that's my long and short of it on Jaron Ennis. I hope to see better in the future from him. At this point, I would think that a Conor Benn fight would look like two guys who are very, very similar trying to beat up each other. And it wouldn't be very sophisticated, it wouldn't be very nuanced. And I would probably just let it happen, just put him in them and let it rip. It'd be very entertaining, and it'd probably be who lands first. I think Jaron Ennis is by far the bigger man naturally, so I'd probably fancy him in that fight. But if you're going to do another fight at 147, why not? Conor Benn, and then go up to 154. And he did say he could probably still make 147 if a big fight comes up. But really, who is there at 147 now? That's a name that will generate the revenue that he wants. So 154, great name to add to the mix, but I'm very, very worried for him with the amount he got punched in that fight, and he's got to sort out that defense. That left hook was just landing for fun over and over again. Let's move on to Bam. He was fighting Guevara. Guevara is someone who I don't know too well, but I thought that he looked at his record and he had a decent career, but no really big wins on there. And Bam did exactly what you would expect him to do. He went in there and he absolutely took the guy apart. Often these guys in the low weight divisions, they're not the biggest punchers in the world, but Bam, a very good puncher for being a smaller guy. Very, very accurate with his work. I thought Guevara put up a good display initially. He was landing shots to the body. There was a right hand in particular. He kept landing to the midriff of Bam early on. And I thought, fair play to this lad. He moved around quite well. I could see why he'd never been stopped before, but Bam went in there. He did what no one else has done. He stopped him in great fashion. He just created a little angle and threw the uppercut, landed it clean. He'd already knocked him down just before that with a clean 1-2. Did he knock him down before that, or was it just a good shot? I don't remember. I think there may have been 2 knockdowns. But anyway, he finished it with that beautiful shot, shifted inside, through the uppercut. And, honestly, Ennis could take a lot from watching Bam. The big thing with Ennis was there was no angles. He didn't use angles in the fight. And Bam is the master of creating angles. And he just goes through the gears so quickly. And he's such a brilliant, brilliant fighter. I put a poll on during my live stream. I said, who do you think is going to have the better career? Boots or Bam? And I think it's Bam all day at the minute. Bam looks so special, so brilliant. I can't say enough good things about the guy, really. I just think he's super talented, and I just want to see him in there with as many big names as possible to get him out there, to get his name out there, to give this guy the hype and the credit that he deserves. They're talking about him maybe fighting Chukhadzhian next. I think that he would win that well because, he's that much older now, Chukhadzhian. And we'll just have to see what they want to do with him, but I think it's only a matter of time before he starts going through the weights again because it's so easy for him at this weight. We saw the Estrada performance as well. He was brilliant in that fight. Just an amazing fight. So I couldn't believe what he did to Sonny Edwards. I think Sonny Edwards, I rate him so highly. I think he's brilliant. So all in all, it was actually quite a decent card in the end for one I wasn't overly excited about. Ray Ford looked good in his fight against Gonzalez. He really wanted a knockout, but Gonzalez at the end started to coast and he got away with it. But a couple of good knockdowns in that fight for Ray Ford. I thought he was very, very sharp. Looked good, and it was a good comeback after that loss. And the big upset on the card was losing to Gallegos. I think it's how you say it, Gallegos. I'm obviously not a Spanish speaker. But Gallegos was brilliant. And it was another rough blow for Matchroom, where they think they've signed this top talent in Khalil Ko. They think he's going to go far. And Gallegos was just too good, too powerful. Ko boxed his fight. Gallegos marched forward and eventually knocked him out. Big body shots. And he stopped him. I thought Gallegos was great, and he's another great addition at 175, and I'm sure he'll get a big fight soon because of the style he has. Very fan-friendly, very come forward, and I'm sure there's guys at light heavy that will really fancy him as a result of that. But he can get in the mix now, for sure. Anyway, guys, this has been my very quick reaction to this card. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please bang a like on the video. Please subscribe to a guy called Henry. We finally hit 5,000 subscribers. How cool is that? I only started back in July, so it's really fast, really exciting. And I hope the channel can just keep to grow and go to from strength to strength. If you're interested in getting part of my boxing community, the link will be in the description for my Discord server. Other than that, guys, as I always say, on to the next one.